Okay, Smile. That's not me telling you to smile. That is the name of the film. So, right, I have to say, my first observation of Smile is the fact that I wanted it to be amazing, and I anticipated the story to be in a certain style, but it wasn't on both counts. It was terrible. It did have some good bits. I'll get onto those, but the plot turned out to be something completely different to what I was expecting. My thinking, or my hope, was that the premise involved a smiley demon, and that there is something that does appear towards the end of the film that's all massive and, you know, grotesque. But I'd hope for this smiley demon that actually sort of hunted the victim down. They catch sight of it, start smiling, and they're done, basically. On the contrary, and I do have to slightly think about this. It doesn't take a lot of me to confuse me, but yeah, it did confuse me because from what I got from the film, the person stops, smiles, and then they kill themselves. The witness, so the person they've done it in front of, is then infected and does the same thing later on. So they've gone off. They need a bag of sprouts from Sainsbury's. They, go on off, do their daily business, come back round. A few days later, start smiling, butcher themselves. So it's passed on like a chain. What I actually anticipated in Smile was that the victim would see like a ghost or some sort of weird demon thing. It smiles at them, they start smiling, and then they die. So the hunted, the hunted sort of gets hunted, kills, witness sees, does the same thing. This hunted sort of aspect, it doesn't exist. So hunted becomes infected, basically. And the poster says, once you see it, it's too late, which is, very mysterious, I suppose. Basically, what it means is, you don't see something at all. To be fair, you basically see a person commit suicide, and then you do the same thing in turn. Yeah, I looked up Smile on Google because I wanted to revisit the plot, because it did confuse me, and I think it confused me because I wanted it to be a certain way, but it wasn't. The ending scene itself is just weird. The whole movie hurtles along with jumps and freaks thrown in, but the final few moments are whipped up into this Guillermo del Toro. Fuck, I knew I pronounced that wrong. Take Guillermo. It's like a Guillermo. Oh, it's like a Del Toro style thing, right? So it's like a Del Toro style character faces his or her inner demons. There's this sort of realization all along that what was stalking them was actually a manifestation of their own inner torment. Blah, blah, blah. It's that type of thing. That's what you get here. Think the Babadook from 2014, I think it was. It's that type of thing in Smile. So, fortunately, there are a few decent elements. I'll get to the positives, but just a quick shout out to Sosie Bacon. Oh, I pronounced that one right, didn't I? Sosie Bacon, who plays Rose, who is a psychiatrist throughout the film. Well, as part of the story, obviously throughout the film. Part of the story, she's a psychiatrist. She's excellent. She goes from this whole sort of sophisticated, decent, like intelligent woman. She looks good, to a whole sudden sort of deflated, sort of shriveled, hair everywhere, just a mess. The way she portrays it is beyond brilliant. she's excellent. So shout out to Sosie Bacon, who plays Rose. If she just hadn't picked up that telephone, no spoilers, but yeah, the scene where her hand goes for the telephone, the whole film could have been completely different. So let me hurtle on to the positives. So yeah, right, there was I've got a note here that says audience screaming, and they there's a scene where Rose, the lead character, drives to the hospital that she works at to basically kill someone, so she can sort of pass it on to this guy. The audience in the cinema fucking erupted. They were, from what I specifically remember, they were screaming and they were howling with laughter, because the whole scene, what's a word for just beyond nuts? It was amazing. So she drives to the hospital to kill this guy, and she basically, yeah, right, in a nutshell, she's doing it basically. And you've got Rose like screaming. She's like, "Ah!" And the guy who she's stabbing is like, "Ah! Ah!" And she's like, "Ah!" And then another doctor comes into the room, and he's like, "Ooh!" So you've got, and this is fucking insane. It's brilliant. Bonkers. Beyond bonkers. And the doctor is the doctor who comes in and starts screaming, actually, I think he starts pulling his face off. So he's like, you know, when the sockets start appearing, and then the skeletons. Oh my god. It was an epic moment. It was actually a moment that was not good, and it wasn't bad. It was just utterly fucked up. And the only response that I, and obviously everyone around me, had was to laugh. That will always stand out for me as when I look back at Smile. The audience reaction. It was excellent. I don't think this is half the reason, or 100% of the reason I go to the cinema. The whole richness of the sound and the reaction and the quality of comments and laughter, as long as they're not chatting through the fucking film, of the people around me. It was great. So yeah, there's another scene, unfortunately and disturbingly, at a children's birthday party. But yeah, there aren't many though. That's what all I'd point out, is there aren't many of these scenes. So this one, two, three scenes in the film do really stand out, obviously. Right, move on to another positive. The countdown aspect is decent. So you've got the lead character sort of racing against time to save herself, and it keeps the movie sort of beating at a good pace. It's also fueled by the anticipation of what Rose is going to see or do next. So it's one of them. I think I'm actually starting to bring myself around, and I'm changing my opinion of the film as I talk about it, to be honest, because it's one of the, it splits in half. I was going to say the Smile is, it's a horror film that sort of crosses the boundary into the mental health aspect as well, because Rose works as a psychiatrist in a hospital, and when she is infected, and the way she's all disheveled and she's losing her shit, basically, it's portrayed and it's examined and it's acted out just perfectly. No one around her, like her sister and family members, no one believes her. She's trying to get to grips with this inner torment of something that's happened to her previously. It's all very, it's like mental health meets horror film. So in that whole production element, that's just excellent. The jump scares and the freak moments are good, but there's not enough of them. But yeah, the plot itself wasn't what I expected. There are creepy moments, especially when Rose goes to see her own psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist starts, like breaking into a smile. As seen in the trailer, so no spoilers there. But yeah, I can't really, I can't really explain what I mean, because I mean, I kind of did, but it's one of those, where you expected a story to sort of contain the sort of, I suppose, the plot elements and the storyline, basically. So it's a film that contains a storyline that just goes off down one path, but you expect it to be another. Yeah, I don't know if I got it wrong about the whole the infected thing, but there are various characters in the film who one character who Rose comes into contact with is actually locked up, so he can't come into contact with anyone that smiles. There's a different character who they see at a petrol station, who on CCTV, who starts smiling, so he's going to do something to himself and then pass it on. Yeah, the way it's all threaded together is okay, but it's just, I just thought it'd be something else. I thought that basically what happens towards the end of the film, so I'm trying not to spoil it here, but in the closing moments, I thought what happened there would be what would happen throughout the film. So again, it's got some good jumpy moments, but it's one of those G. Del Toro films that, it's sort of personal tragedy and emotion that manifests into sort of something else. It's similar to one of those films. Anyway, that's me done on Smile. And breathe a sigh of relief. But I wouldn't watch it again, I don't think. But hey, win some, you lose some. Smile is half and half, really.